From Vermont Public, this is The Frequency. I'm Mitch Wertlieb. It's Monday, June 2nd, and here are today's headlines, starting with this note that will have updated information for you on tomorrow's episode of The Frequency regarding education reform and housing legislation that was still being worked out among lawmakers in Montpelier at the time we were taping this episode. Federal immigration officials Thursday detained a group of migrant workers who were employed at an affordable housing site in Newport. Patrick Shadduck is director of the housing nonprofit Rural Edge, and he says the workers have been employed by the subcontractor for years.
These jobs are highly regulated. Every employee is verified. These include certified payrolls, and so it is frustrating.
The workers were doing framing on a 40-unit affordable housing project, which has been in the works for more than 2 years now. An attorney with an immigration advocacy group said the workers were being held Thursday night at Northwest State Correctional Facility in St. Albans. The onslaught of public comment on a proposal to build an Amazon distribution center in Essex continues. The town's Development Review Board on Thursday did not decide whether to approve the proposed 107,000-square-foot facility. Dozens of Vermonters showed up in person at Essex High School and online for the meeting. They expressed concerns about traffic, environmental impact, and working conditions. Margaret Smith, an Essex resident for over 50 years, was one of them.
I don't understand why there is no mention of solar panels. You're going to cut down the trees and increase the heat in the area between the trucks driving through and the pavement. Why not put in solar panels to help with that? There has been no pollution study done for the impact of that many trucks.
The board motioned to continue the hearing, which is scheduled now for June 5th. The virus that causes COVID-19 has mutated into 2 new variants that are circulating in Asia, Europe, and North America, and health officials in Quebec say one of them was detected in Montreal wastewater. The Montreal Gazette reports that variant XFG has also been detected in wastewater in other parts of Canada, the U.S., and Europe. Public health officials in Quebec say there is no need to panic, but that they are continuing to monitor the situation closely. The World Health Organization is monitoring levels through public wastewater data and rates the overall public health risk of COVID-19 as low. Vail Resorts has a new, yet old, CEO. The global ski giant announced last week that former CEO Rob Katz is returning to the job, succeeding Kirsten Lynch, who has stepped down. Vail Daily reports the move follows a challenging winter season for the company, headlined by a prolonged ski patrol strike in Park City, Utah, which sent the public company's stock prices tumbling. Vail Resort operates 42 mountain resorts worldwide, including 3 in Vermont. The Vermont Law and Graduate School has received the largest donation in its history. An anonymous Environmental International Foundation gifted VLGS $10 million to strengthen the school's work in agriculture and food systems and animal protection policy. VLGS plans to use a significant portion of the donation for student scholarships. Delciana Winders is the director of the Animal Law and Policy Institute. She said those scholarships will help recruit top talent, which will allow the school to enhance its law clinic work.
Already, we've been able to do a tremendous number of things advocating for animals used for food, and we'll be able to amplify that work. And that also means that we can provide more services to the local community.
Winders said the donation will also go towards other projects, such as helping transition dairy farm land into other types of agricultural land. And coming up, a program that's provided millions of low-income people in cold weather states federal assistance to help pay their heating bills could be on the chopping block. We'll hear about the threat to LIHEAP after this.
Thanks for listening to The Frequency, where support comes from VITA, supporting business growth and innovation in the Green Mountain State. From agriculture to manufacturing, energy to food production, find solutions that turn your business dreams into reality. Visit VEDA.org and see how VITA can help make it happen.
The Northeast has some of the highest energy prices in the country. And every winter, millions of people here depend on federal assistance to pay their heating bills. The help comes from the Low-Income Home Energy Assistance Program, or LIHEAP. But LIHEAP faces a number of obstacles, including the fact that President Trump wants to eliminate it. The New England News Collaborative's Miriam Wasser looks at how that might impact low-income New Englanders.
It can take up to $1,500 to fill the oil tank in Lily Bryan's basement.
And that don't even last you a whole season.
Bryan lives in a small single-family home in Dorchester, and is one of thousands of senior citizens in Massachusetts who rely on federal LIHEAP money for heat. She says the program changed her life. In fact, she describes the last 2 decades as having 2 distinct periods, before LIHEAP and after. The before times began in 2008, when she and her husband split up. She quickly realized the paycheck she brought home from her job at a hotel wasn't enough to pay the bills.
I remember laying in the bed one night, just scared, and I just said, Lord, what am I going to do? I don't got no money. I don't know who to call.
She picked up other jobs, but still, it wasn't enough. She cut back on groceries. And to put off having her oil tank refilled, she'd turn the heat way down and take cold showers. Sometimes she'd open the oven door to warm up the house.
You just did what you had to do to survive.
Bryan lived like this for many years. And then, one day, in the middle of winter, her oil furnace broke down. A neighbor told her about a local nonprofit that might be able to help. And it did. The organization replaced her furnace and oil tank and signed her up for LIHEAP, or HEAP, as it's now known in Massachusetts. She hasn't gone without heat since. Bryan's retired now and lives on a fixed income. She says the prospect of losing this assistance is almost unfathomable.
It's just hard to really imagine. It's scary.
But this $4 billion program is on the chopping block. President Trump has proposed eliminating all of its funding.
If the LIHEAP funds go away, people will die, and it's not hard to see why.
Mark Wolf is an energy economist and leads the National Energy Assistance Directors Association, a group that represents state agencies that administer LIHEAP. He calls the president's proposal cruel.
They didn't say that they thought this was a good program but poorly run, or they thought this was a good program that could be improved. They just said we don't need it.
LIHEAP helps about 6 million households across the country pay for heating and cooling every year. Supporters of the program say it's particularly important in the Northeast, where winters are cold and heating costs are high. But the White House says LIHEAP isn't essential because many states forbid utilities from shutting off heat in the winter. This is true, says Jennifer Bosco, a lawyer with the National Consumer Law Center, but it doesn't apply to people like Lily Bryan who use fuel oil or propane. Also, she adds,
just because you're protected from being disconnected for a period of time, it doesn't mean you have free utility service during that period of time. You still owe the money.
And you can still end up in deep debt. Rachel Gressler is an economist with the Heritage Foundation, a conservative think tank. She acknowledges that some people need heating assistance, but she says the money should come from the states. If they fund the program, she says, they'll run it more efficiently.
Really, I think that this is something that can better meet the needs of people if it's done at a local level.
What's more, she says the Trump administration plans to turbocharge oil and gas extraction to bring down energy prices.
The administration's agenda to unleash American energy is going to do more for every household in America than it is currently doing under the LIHEAP program for just these select households.
If that was true, then wait till that happens and then eliminate the program.
Ed Augustus leads the Massachusetts Executive Office of Housing and Livable Communities. He says if federal LIHEAP funding is cut, Massachusetts, like many other states, can't just pay for the program, and people won't get help with their heating bills.
We're forcing really horrible choices for families. You know, do I do the grocery bill, or do I do the heating bill, or do I pay the rent?
It's up to Congress to decide whether the federal government will continue funding the LIHEAP program. A decision is expected sometime before winter sets in. For the New England News Collaborative, I'm Miriam Wasser.
Thanks for listening to The Frequency today. We had additional reporting from Howard Weiss-Tisman, Nathaniel Wilson, and Adia Golston. Today's episode was edited by Mark Davis, and our music is by Blue Dot Sessions. I'm Mitch Wertlieb. Talk to you tomorrow.
Planet Money helps you understand the economy. We find the people at the center of the story.
Garbage in New York, that was like a controlled substance.
We show you how money influences everything.
Tell me what you like by telling me how you spend your money.
And we dig until we get answers.
I had a bad feeling you were going to bring that up.
Planet Money finds out. All you have to do is listen. The Planet Money Podcast from NPR.